not every productive workday has to start at 5 a.m.
Why is it always 5 a.m. with these people anyway?
You might feel like in order to be a successful content creator, you need to hustle and grind and spend all of your waking hours focused on content. But it's my personal mission to show you that a more balanced, calm, and cozy approach is possible. You can be a successful and consistent content creator without it becoming your entire life. It just takes intention and discipline. I just personally really think that if content creation isn't going to give you better work-life balance than your 9 to 5 does, then you might as well just keep the 9 to 5. I wanted to become a content creator because yes, it's a really fun and creative job and one that I always dreamed of doing, but also because it provides a level of flexibility that you just really can't get unless you're self-employed. So today I'm going to show you a slice of that flexibility and bring you along for a productive workday in my life and share some pretty honest and real takes that I've been thinking about lately, but I haven't had the courage to share yet. So come along and join me for a productive day in my life. I am not a 5 a.m. morning routine kind of gal. I still believe it's possible though to achieve productivity without the performative green juice and 6 a.m. workout stuff. In fact, I would say my morning routine leans way more cozy than productive. I love making myself a substantial breakfast. Let me know in the comments if you're a breakfast person or not. I feel like this is such a divisive topic. For me, I wake up hungry and I always try to have a mix of protein. So today that's eggs and cottage cheese and an omelet and some fiber. So I'm having some mango and toast. The toast has hazelnut spread because you know what? We all need a little sweetness in our lives. I believe in balance. Warm breakfast in hand, I will crawl back into bed and grab my Kobo and read a chapter or so. I'm currently rereading my favorite series of all time, Outlander. I'm on book 4 at the moment. Sometimes I feel a little insecure, like I should be getting up earlier and getting more done in my day sooner. Then I remember these little moments of simple joy are what life is all about. My work will wait for me. I can take some time to eat a nice breakfast and see what adventure Jamie and Claire are up to these days. So I was just checking my Instagram insights the other day and I noticed something that I was like low-key shocked by that I wanted to tell you guys about. Big news, I think I created my first ever viral carousel. My typical carousels get like, well, my highest viewed carousels probably get like 50 to 60k views. The typical really fluctuates, like maybe that's closer to like 20 or something, 20k views. As of right now, this carousel has 988,000 views, so like just shy of 1 million, which is crazy. And honestly, I think it would have got to 1 million views too if it weren't for this one thing that I changed, but I honestly don't regret it. Let me tell you the backstory. It's like a cutie little carousel talking about how like, I'm not scared of aging because this is my mom at 55. And not only is it like a little tribute to my mom, but it's just kind of a discussion of how like we're so focused on maintaining our youthfulness as women, and I think there's so many more interesting things for us to spend our time on, like hobbies and learning new things and chasing our dreams. And that was really like the point of the post, and clearly that message connected with a lot of people and I got a lot of really nice feedback on it, which I really appreciated. But as any post that eventually gets a lot of views does, I started getting some comments that I was not a fan of. And let me be clear, like 99% of the comments were so positive and sweet, so I'm really not taking this as an indication of the content. It's just unfortunately a fact of humanity on the internet that as soon as you get a group of like 100,000 people together, like one of them's gonna be a meanie, you know? Especially kind of randomly selected people through the Instagram algorithm. And you know, like it's my mom, so especially if anybody is gonna say anything like, oh, like she should really dye her hair, I'm like immediately, no, you're out of here. I will not take slander towards my mom. But above and beyond that, I felt like there were some people kind of like taking the post in bad faith. Like women who were in their 50s being like, oh, like you're talking about her like she's in her 80s. Like being in your 50s doesn't mean you're like old and decrepit. Of course we can still do stuff like go on trips. Like I wasn't trying to say that it's like so remarkable that she travels. I'm just saying it's like one of the cool things about her. Like anyway, I personally feel like they were like intentionally kind of taking it the wrong way. But I was kind of getting sick of these comments, honestly. And like, I'll be honest, like low-key it was stressing me out that like my mom was getting so much hype. I'm like, oh, like I didn't mean to expose you to like the wild side of the internet, mom. So long story short, the TLDR of all of this, I decided to turn off the comments for people who weren't already following me, which I've never done before on a post, but like that's actually a really nice feature that Instagram has. So like anybody who's already following me, if they would go to the post, they wouldn't even notice that anything is different. They'd still be able to comment, they could read the comments, but if you're not following me, then you would like see a little message that say like comments have been limited, and like that pretty much immediately put a stop to any nasty comments. But what I find so fascinating, it also pretty much immediately put a stop to the post getting more views. So like this post was like climbing, like it was going seriously viral, really climbing fast, and then right at about the like 960,000 view mark, that's when I turned off comments to non-followers. And you can see here on like the insights graph, like it just immediately like flatlined. And I'm just like so intrigued by this. It's like the Instagram algorithm really got the message that I was like, please stop showing this to mean people. Don't let them comment stuff. And Instagram said, bet, I won't. Which I'll be really honest is like a little sad for my ego, because I would have loved for this post to get 1 million views just so I could say like, oh, I've had a carousel get 1 million views, but it's like not quite there. But at the end of the day, that ego boost is not worth the emotional turmoil of like having to moderate these comments that were upsetting me. So I still stand by my call to turn off the comments to non-followers, but I just find it fascinating how much that was like turning off the views. I wasn't necessarily expecting that. I suppose you could say, you know, comments are one of the signals to the algorithm that a post is engaging and that it should be shown to more people. So if all of a sudden I've essentially turned off the ability for the vast majority of the people viewing the post to be able to provide that signal to the algorithm, then it's like, okay, well, all of a sudden this post stopped getting as many comments. I guess it's not as engaging as we thought, kind of thing. So that could be why, but I also kind of wonder if like turning off comments to non-followers is like a signal in itself of like, I don't want this seen by so many people, but I don't know. I suppose for the sake of this experiment, we could have figured out if I would have turned, you know, comments back to public and seen if the views shot back up, but I was like, it's not worth my sanity. I'd rather just leave it as is. Just another prime example of how you always want to go viral until you do. And then you're like, ah! Since being here in the UK, I've had to adapt to a slightly different daily schedule. Basically, I work from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day to match Dan's schedule, which is 9 to 5 Eastern time. Obviously, since I'm like fully self-employed, I could probably work whatever time, but I want to be able to go out and explore with him. I'm normally the kind of person that needs to get up and start working immediately, or else I feel kind of gross, but this trip has been a good reason to challenge that part of me. I've had to adjust to the afternoon shift, which has never been my thing, but it's been a good reminder for me that it's okay to do something for yourself before you do your work. Long story short, we do our evenings before our work days, basically. My typical thing is roll out of bed and immediately try to start being productive, but this is forcing me to remember that I'm worth prioritizing. It's okay to have fun and explore or just relax before I start my work for the day. Which is kind of weird for me, but it's what works while we're here. So maybe that sounds simple to some people, but it was a huge mindset shift for me as someone who was very much raised that work comes before play, and that is my personal default as well. So this has gotten me out of my comfort zone a little bit. Well, we have had a lovely morning exploring, and something that is not at all part of my regular routine, but was actually very special. For lunch, we got to meet up with Isobel, who works at Creatorly. If you didn't know, I have a small video editing agency called Creatorly Media, and we have a team of really passionate, talented video editors from kind of around the world, actually. Isobel lives here in the UK, so we've only ever met like over video calls before. So it was so cool to get to see her in person and have lunch together. But it is now kind of past time that I should be starting work for the day. It's 2:15. And when we're in cities like this, I love to take advantage of it by going to work at a coffee shop. So that's what we're gonna do now. I had no idea this was going to be such a scenic walk, like when I set out from our parking spot to go to this coffee shop. Just walking along this beautiful river, like how cool. Okay, so the first item on my to-do list for today is actually to plan some short form content. I'm actually a little bit ahead at the moment, which is really nice. So it's for the week after next. Because of that, I'm really trying to lean into more original content rather than like trendy stuff, just because trendy stuff is harder to batch in advance. Like if I would make it now and 2 weeks from now, it would feel kind of stale. Honestly, I could probably make like a whole like hour-long video about my short form content planning process because I got a lot to say. So you can let me know if you would like to see a video on that topic, and maybe I could make a whole dedicated vlog on that. Basically, I have these lists like in my notes app and in Notion of just like stuff that comes to mind as I'm brainstorming, you know, randomly, kind of like shower thoughts I don't want to forget, that sort of thing. And that's what I'm going to reference now and try to put that into a content calendar and like actually write some scripts for those ideas. Alright, I think I have settled on a plan. I'm actually going to post 2 cut down videos during this week. I've decided that I kind of want to return to doing more like strategic cut downs of my long form videos because I feel like the content's sitting right there. I'm like not making the most of it. Also, these next couple weeks are going to be kind of busy and a little bit difficult to film. So I'm trying to like limit how much short form stuff I need to film. I am going to do 1 original short form talking to camera video, and I had an idea kicking around for a carousel that I'm going to make. So I have a little bit of time before I need to head back to the van, so I might even get started on making that carousel because honestly, it low-key really stresses me out to like have all this content planned, but like none of it actually completed.
I'll be honest, I often do feel a little bit of like post-planning anxiety. Coming up with the ideas is so fun, but then when I start to think about the fact that like I'm the one that actually has to execute on those ideas, I start to get very stressed. Thank you. There's just something about filming specifically that like I get kind of anxious about, and like not a vlog like this because it's very off the cuff and casual, but when I've planned something out in a strategic way, because I think that piece of content will do well, when it comes time for me to actually film, I need to like make myself look nice, like do my hair and makeup, make sure the lighting is good, make sure I'm in a place where the sound is gonna be good. It just feels very high stakes. It feels like, okay, it's showtime, baby, like let's make this good. And it feels like the performance of the content is really hinging on like how good of a job I do filming it. I can just get very stressed when I have to actually like make it happen. It's like, okay, Katie, you came up with all these great ideas, like time to film it. Actually, just the other week I filmed a YouTube video that I'm planning to reshoot because honestly, like that kind of anxiety got to me in the midst of filming. It was also a little bit of social awkwardness because of where the van was parked. I felt like I was being observed. I feel like I was performing to an audience while I was just trying to like film my YouTube video, but sometimes there's no helping that. Living in a van is kind of like living out in public all the time, so you never really have 100% privacy. At least if you want there to be like light inside your van, which obviously I do if I'm filming. Like I could cover the windows, but that wouldn't really work. Anyway, the point is like I really like lost the mental game when I was filming that YouTube video, and I took all this time where I was kind of freaking out and like just getting in my own head. And while I was spending all that time freaking out, the sun started to set, and so I ended up having like super harsh lighting. And I will say I am proud of myself because I did push through and I filmed the rest of the video, but you can kind of tell that the sun is setting throughout it and the lighting is just like, it's not how I want it to look, and I put a lot of effort into planning that video, so I want the final product to look good, so I'm gonna reshoot it. That's the plan. Okay, I interrupt the regular programming to bring you an essential message. I just realized because my like phone alarm just went off. Okay, the Jonas Brothers have added more dates to their tour. I thought I was gonna miss it entirely because I've been over in Europe like all summer, but they're going to Hamilton, Ontario, which is very close for me, on December 14th. I will be home by then, and the tickets just went on sale. So, oh my god, it's the Ticketmaster wars. Gosh, everything is like 250, 300. Why is it so? I gotta get back to the van and get my laptop out. I don't know, like, it's very millennial of me, but I cannot buy concert tickets on my phone. Are you kidding me? I need a laptop. This has become very high stakes in very short order. While planning content and the anticipation of having actually to create said content can be anxiety inducing, on the other hand, the high of
finishing content and having it filmed, edited, caption written, scheduled, and ready to post, that is an incredible feeling. That I'm chasing that high all the time. That is just the emotional roller coaster of content creation. A little bit like getting concert tickets, honestly. With that important piece of business out of the way, it's just about supper time. So time to make some dinner, and then we'll continue on with the workday. Working on this time zone, basically our dinner break at like 5 p.m. or like 6 p.m.-ish, that's like the equivalent of lunch break at home. So yeah, let's make some pasta. Next on my list is something that is just a little bit painful to do because unfortunately it requires that I swap from my eSIM to roaming with my Canadian phone number. I've got some financial stuff I have to take care of, and I need to get a confirmation code to my Canadian phone number. So unfortunately, this is one of the side effects of traveling a lot, is that like you randomly have to pay $16 just to be able to access your phone number for a day. I don't want to have to do it, but I do. I've been putting this off too long. I have been neglecting my bookkeeping for like way too long, and my bank accounts have become unsynced with QuickBooks, and in order to resync them, I need to get confirmation codes from my bank to my phone. I can't put it off. I can't put it off anymore. We've got to just do it. Something that I've been kind of struggling with this year, if I'm honest with you, is the fact that I know it's not quite the end of the year yet, but I know I'm gonna make less money this year than I did last year, which feels a little bit painful to admit, even though like it shouldn't. At the beginning of this year, I even talked about this in a vlog, but I intentionally decided to do less brand deals. And looking back, like I've really had so many new and beautiful life experiences that I wouldn't have been able to have if I was as hyper focused on my career as I was in 2024. Like in 2024, I posted a sponsored YouTube video pretty much every single week. And I even like had a podcast that was sponsored that has been on hiatus for a long time. So like I know I did way more work, and I was honestly more stressed as well. And going into this year, like I really intentionally made a decision to focus more on life and travel and self-care. And I knew that that was a financial decision as well as a lifestyle one. But I still struggle with it because I think, as with like many business owners, it's really easy to tie your worth or like how good of a job you're doing to your revenue. I'm really trying to change my mindset about that, because to me, like, real success is being able to have flexibility in your time to get to do what you want to do with your days, and also not having the stress of like worrying about your bills and stuff, which I know even with making less this year than I did last year, I'm still very, very privileged and very fortunate to, you know, not have to worry about money. And so I feel like I need to just like lean into that instead of like constantly giving myself a hard time for like doing less brand deals or whatever. And actually, after all this time away, I am starting to feel a little bit more drawn to consistency in my work schedule again. I have more video ideas and business ideas that like I'm excited to return to once I get home and I have a little bit more stability in my life. And I just think that's actually like such a cool thing about this career. As a content creator, you can go through different seasons of life where you're focused on different things. Maybe there's some times where you're more interested in just like living in the moment and traveling and not worrying so much about hyper consistency and productivity. And there's other times where you're feeling really motivated to launch new things or experiment or really grow your business. And I just feel really grateful that I have a job that like allows me that autonomy and that like ability to shift and evolve depending on where I'm at personally. Like that is a really cool part about having a job like this, is you can kind of like decide when to step on the gas and when to just like let off and coast for a little bit. And I definitely feel like 2025 has been a little bit more of a coasting year for me. There's definitely been times where I've like pushed and made extra content or like hustled a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I've been able to spend time focusing on other things. And I think that might change soon. Like I think I might kind of go back into a more like work focused era for 2026. We'll see. I still need to like do some planning and thinking about that. But no matter what direction I go, I just love that this like job can kind of grow with me. I feel like that's a really like underrated part of being a content creator.
Not gonna lie, as the night goes on, it gets harder and harder to motivate yourself, but we are still 2 hours away from 10 p.m/5 p.m. Eastern, so we're still working. This sort of weird schedule is just one of the trade-offs of being able to travel while we're working, so you gotta do what you gotta do.
After a big work day, it always feels good to wind down and get the van ready for bed. It's my job to do the dishes and Dan's job to get the bed set up. Small routines like this, I think, are a good way to shift out of a work mindset and just into relaxation mode. Hey, so if you've watched this far in the video, you are legally obligated to let me know in the comments section because we are basically besties now. I really appreciate it when you guys tune into my vlogs because I love making them, so let me know if you want to see more. I just feel like this is my favorite way to film. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it as well and that this was a cozy watch for you, as well as a little reminder to take care of yourself and that while being productive is great, it is most certainly not the measure of your worth. So give yourself some grace today, and until next time, I hope that you're having adventures and following your dreams. Bye!